Welcome back to another episode of Sheet Talking. Today we're talking about spreadsheets and Coda. We're talking with Scott, the Coda guy. He goes by the Coda guy on Twitter, and you can find him at Coda School, which I'll put a link in the description below. Enjoy the conversation.
I wanted to ask you first, how did you get into Coda?
I was a public school teacher, so I worked in public education at the high school level, and there was just these nutso things that I was asked to do. Specifically, I taught students with disabilities, and so that realm of teaching is very different from normal teaching, aka it's governed by federal law. So there's a lot of things that as a teacher you have to do in this order and in this way and by these times and by this deadlines. And so in my mind, I was like, because this is so reproducible and it's so like you have to do it exactly like this, there's got to be systems that people have in place that help them organize this information or that help them automate these really redundant flows. And so I spent, first 6 months of my teaching, asking senior teachers, what do you do? How do you handle this? And it was just insane. I quickly learned there was nothing. People just had Google Sheets, or they literally wrote it on a notebook and were like, I just have to remember to check my notebook every morning. And I was like, you send all those emails automatically, and every morning you have to go check every single email that came back to see if someone responded and then resend. I was like, no. So I started looking to build my own solution. And so I actually first looked at Google Sheets and different stuff and tried some different things, and it just wasn't working out for me. And then I stumbled on it really early when you still had to apply to get an account. So you couldn't just sign up and start using it. You had to actually
alpha,
request.
Very beta.
Yeah, totally. I think they were originally called Krypton. So even before they were called Coda, I entered right. So they were called Coda when I started using them. So, but I was right around that namey switchy time. And that's how I stumbled on Coda, and I've been using it obsessively ever since.
And what was the value proposition that you might not remember this, but was it what I see in a lot of things that are trying to take over Google Sheets and Excel sort of market, they'll say things like some products will say we go beyond Sheets and we'll take your existing data and move it, like Glide or Spread Simple, or Epiphany. And then there's other products that are like, oh, we're beyond spreadsheets, where we don't even consider they exist. We're this other thing, and that's Rose and Coda, at least in my mind.
Yeah.
What was the value proposition? What was the job to be hired that you were like, oh, this is the thing that's going to do the thing that I need done at that exact moment?
Part of it is just chance and coincidence. I don't have a technical background. I don't have a software engineering or I think even 5 years ago, I didn't really even understand what a Google Sheet formula was. I was like, what the heck's a formula? And so I didn't make this very informed decision about Coda is technically a relational database and its benefits over a spreadsheet is this, and that will help me. I think I just kind of fell into it because it just seemed easier.
Yeah. So it was like, oh, this is the thing that I wish spreadsheets would do, all this other stuff and these automations. So it was almost was it
yeah, I think some of it was I knew I needed to send emails, for example. And I think I was like, that just feels hard. How do I automate that off a spreadsheet? I think I have to write an app script. And of course, back then I had no technical experience. I was like, that seems way too hard. And there was this other thing where I connected with the Google Sheets expert, and they're like, oh, to do that, you have to write this macro. And it's I don't know what's happening. But Coda had these buttons. And I was like, I can understand a button. I know what a button can do.
So
and I think it just,
so you have this non-technical background. You're I want to execute this thing. The thing that I want to execute, it happens to say it's one of the bullet points of this product. And you also seem to have an open, well, one, you were looking for a solution at that moment, but generally speaking, it seemed like you have an openness to adopt new technology that doesn't render you the technical person. So macros, AppScript, VBA, anything that has some technical coding, other language, you're I don't really want to step on that third rail yet. But I want to have something to execute these things. So Now, this is, you said 5 years ago,
5 or 6,
5 or 6. So like
somewhere in there. And
now, would you, if without Coda, if you didn't know that if Coda didn't exist now, what do you think there's more solutions out there that are like this, that are like for non-technical people to like do things? Or would you go the other route, would be like, oh, I will program this. Like this should be a Python
I think
script.
I think Coda's the solution. I mean, I do code now, so I do code in JavaScript, and I spend all day in APIs, and I write app scripts and do all sorts of that stuff. But I think Coda is just such an enormously like powerful tool with a lower barrier to entry to access these more programmatic things than a coding language or than an app script. So I think it has all the like abilities with the easier to access interface.
Yeah,
And so,
definitely. I mean, in my experience,
awesome.
Same exact thing about I think 4 or 5 years ago. I never knew about a different name, so must have been maybe 3 or just maybe 2018 or 2019, I think. I tried Coda and it was really cool. But I've also tried other things, and it always scrambles my mind. In retrospect, I don't remember what I used it when, because like I've tried Airtable, I've tried Rows, I've tried Glide, I've tried Spreadsimple, I've tried Coda, I've tried almost anything or everything that has said will replace a spreadsheet. I've tried, but they all sort of mix together. What separates now that you know like the deep dark recesses and abilities of Coda, what is the thing? I mean, you just said it generally. You said it eases the learning curve into coding. It has a GUI, it has these sort of automations already baked in. But what separates Coda from, everything else?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's Theo at Coda likes to use the terminology of like a high ceiling and a low floor. In terms of high ceiling, the ceiling being what is this tool actually capable of? Where does it hit its limits? And low floor is, okay, well, can I start using it today? Like what kind of prior knowledge or experience or skills do you have? And while of course there, I think, are gains to be made in both of those to raise Coda's ceiling and to lower its floor, especially lower its floor, I think Coda easily has the highest ceiling of them, online with the spreadsheet. I think a Google Sheet and Excel, those things are insanely powerful, like what you can actually do with those. And I think Code is the only tool that's on par with those in terms of like a sense of endless customability of like, I want this tool to do X. I may not know how to get there, but I know there's a way, And I think there's a lot of other tools like a Rows or an Airtable where you're just more in a box. Like they're built for a specific purpose and you can kind of stretch them this way or that, but they reach their limits and you may not be able to do X, Y, or Z. And I think the reason why I love Coda so much is because it's in line with the almost like endless potential of a spreadsheet.
Yeah, that reminds me, when I tried Airtable, I was trying to do this one specific thing in Airtable, and this is almost 10 years ago now, like probably 8 years ago. Trying to do this one thing in Airtable, and I got onto Airtable because it had this interface where you could have the data and then 2 different views of it automatically, and you can change all the views. And that was like originally what Airtable was pushing out, was like, it's not a spreadsheet where you have to like change the structure of the data to view it. You have this data and this structure differently. And I mean, again, that was like the main value proposition. So what I'm about to say is sort of, you can see the problem coming a mile away. I was like, okay, let me try this. And then I tried to also execute things as if it was a spreadsheet. So I would try to like iterate things. I had to like take data away, put it back and iterate it and count it. And then like, I kept getting into these very quickly. I kept getting into these cul-de-sacs or these dead ends where I was like, I don't think this can do this simple thing that can do.
Yeah.
And then I would read in the documentation, they're like, Airtable is not a database. I was like, oh, but I want it to be. Like, oh, yeah. oh shit, like I really
Yeah,
got into a real tiny hole, and they knew it, and they wrote it in the documentation of like this. It doesn't do this. I was like,
yeah,
no.
yeah. But that's where I think I love Coda, right? Like you don't really hit that it doesn't do
Mm.
this piece. You can just keep extending it to do more and do more. And yeah, I think it's like it is so different from just like an Airtable, right? Like I think someone rebuilt the Snake game. Like you can literally like build from scratch the Snake game on Coda. And it's like you ain't gonna do that on Notion or on an Airtable or on these other things. And so that's I think where I just love Coda. It's endless.
Yeah, and it sounds like you don't have to connect Zapier either, right? It sounds like it does some automations.
No,
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was like a Zapier expert and did a ton of Zapier for people, and I actually don't have a Zapier account at all anymore because Coda has just replaced all those pieces for me in every part of my business. And we actually have in my agency, we have some internal like
mhm.
I have contacts with subcontractors, so that if we need to call on a Make, Integromat, or Zapier expert, we can, but we've never had to because Coda is able to just handle every business use case that we throw at it.
Do those contractors know you're like, I'll call you when I need you, and then you never call again?
That is unfortunately the case right now, but
Oh my
hopefully still
God.
keep good connections with them. And sometimes they'll have like be doing their own Coda stuff and they'll ask me and help them out. But yeah, no, that's why I love Coda. It is they call themselves the all-in-one doc, and again, there are reasons why you might want to use Zapier instead. I don't suggest everyone go that route either. I think Zapier is a way easier interface. If you're going to start doing automation, Zapier is going to be way easier to leverage than using Coda for automation because it's an automation first product, and they do that really, really well. But that's where like Coda is this like huge platform, and they have those capacities, though that's not their main focus.
Yeah, and I feel like they're orthogonally different. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, or correct my angle, because I know I'm wrong, but like the angle might be off, not the substance. It's like, is Coda mainly for internal tools? Like you have a set of data, or you have something you want to do inside of your company, and you do it inside of your company, and you have some external pieces, like such as sending an email or something. Whereas Zapier is like you want to connect to existing data somewhere else. Like Coda, you might want to like start and a seed and grow.
You could do both. You can connect the data elsewhere and pull it into the. I mean, I think what Coda calls themselves is the all-in-one doc, and so they, instead of like, okay, now I got to go to this tab for my Salesforce information, then I got to go to this tab to do this thing, and I got to go here to do that. It allows you to bring in all your data from all these different places into a single spot.
Bring it in. So it's
Bring it in.
Whereas Zapier is like, we're going to go connect to the data where it is.
And do something,
Yeah,
not
just sit there and twiddle our thumbs.
Yeah.
Which actually
is phenomenal for internal tools.
Which happens a lot. I feel like I spend an inexorbitant amount of time literally looking for things for Zapier to do. I just literally, I've known Zapier and I've had an account for a long time, and then for a long time I didn't. And I think literally weeks ago I started using Zapier again because I was like, there's some things I really have to do here. But I have spent within those weeks, not months, but weeks, an inexorbitant amount of time just scrolling through zaps, that like pre-written zaps. Like, what else can I do? Like, I really need
ideas of what you can automate. Yeah, ideas, totally. There's a lot of ideas.
Where do you find your ideas? Like to do something in Coda? Are you doing like me, where I'm like, okay, I want Google Sheets to do X because something else does it. So, okay, how do I do that?
I mean, I don't know exactly what you do as well, but I mean, all of our ideas come from clients. So the client comes up with the idea. The client says, this is our business problem. You got to solve it. And then we solve it. And so that's where I get all my ideas. It's from clients telling me their issues and from me solving them.
And that's because your business is like as an agency, right? Like you
Yeah,
don't
professional
exist without
services,
a
consulting agency.
client, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have some other stuff. So I own the Coda school, and it's like a premium Coda course, like an AZ Coda course, with community and other things like that. So that's chugging along. I sell templates, I do YouTube. So I have some other there's some other like revenue streams associated with my Coda work. But the bulk and the majority of it is we're a professional services agency that helps small to medium businesses, create custom internal tooling, automate their processes, get insight into their data, create dashboards, X, Y, and Z. So,
Oh my God. That is like the most boring things ever. Which it's like
it's so fun.
you would
I love
want
data.
someone who likes doing those things to be doing those things. Like that's one of the reasons why I sort of had a job as a Google Sheet guy, was because all of those things that are boring, I was like, oh, that's like a puzzle. Like, oh, how do you do that? Oh, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know. I have to go figure it out. And like people's eyes would just roll back in their head of like, I need this to do this thing. Like, yeah, I have this business problem, and I'm like, they're bored even just saying the problem.
Mhm. Yeah, but I guess that's where it's good that we're there because we find it a lot of fun. Yeah, I mean, we're dealing with so many different services all the time. We're using Coda as like this anchor or this
Mhm.
core, but we're using so many other services. Like, so there's this one company and they're kind of like the Airbnb for clothing. So if you are going to the snow and you want the coolest, hippest $800 snow jacket to look awesome on the mountain, but you don't have money to buy an $800 snow jacket, you're going to rent it from somebody. So they're
Oh,
kind of like that middle
I thought the
person.
Airbnb of clothes would be like, if I have only one leg, I can rent the other leg of my trousers out to someone.
That'd be really sweet.
Like,
You wouldn't rent a single leg, but you could rent your own clothes out. So like you could go into your clothes and say, I've got some really cool jackets. I'm going
oh,
to put them up on this platform.
parts of your
And
closet,
then,
not parts of your clothes. You can rent parts of your closet out. You can't rent parts of your
mhm,
clothes out. Like,
not the sleeves or the
I,
buttons, but yeah, a jacket. So I've got a really cool snow jacket. Maybe I'm going to, since it just sits in my closet for half the year, I can put it up um, on their site, and then someone else can look and see that that's available. And they're kind of like that middleman, right? But so the problem we have to solve is they're like, we're doing all these manual processes of like someone requests to borrow this jacket, and then we have to go and we have to text the person who actually owns it and say, this is when they want to do it. Are you free? Is your jacket free by then? And if it is free, then they have to like develop and print a label with like a shipping provider. And then they have to text the person who wants to rent it and say, hey, you're good to go. Like your order's been processed. And so we're just automating that entire thing with them by like hitting Twilio's API and hitting like shipping APIs. And so we're automatically connecting, a buyer to a supplier, but Coda is just like the engine under it at all, right? Like, so typically that would be a problem solved by an engineering team, but it would take a engineering team some time and some money to get that done. And so we're able to stand that up, in a couple of weeks on top of like a Coda infrastructure, hitting all these different APIs and things like that. So we find that super fun.
what is the like most fun thing you've done?
Um, what is the most fun thing I've done?
Or like the hardest problem that you're like, I solved that? Because that's fun to me when I solve like a really
Yeah,
hard
something that's really
problem, and I'm
fun.
like, I can't even believe I figured that out. For example, it took me 7 years to figure out how to sync 2 tabs on a Google Sheet, because that's what like Airtable does. It's like 2 different views.
Mhm.
And it was literally like midnight one night. I like very comically, like almost like in a movie, I popped up in bed and I was like, I know how to do it. And I went and I coded it in 20 minutes, and then I went back to sleep. And I was like, I woke up, I was like, did I do that?
Yeah. Trying to think, there's a lot of fun. I've had those moments literally too, where I pop out, like I'm going to bed and I'm like, wait a second. Like, I know how to do this. I had a brain blast. I come from the era where Jimmy Neutron was a thing. And so I speak in brain blasts, if anybody knows those.
Oh, I come
The
from the era
most
where I stole this from Dali. Salvador Dali would like have this thing where he would take a nap in a chair. He wouldn't take a nap laying down. He would take a nap sitting up with a bell in his hand. And when he was going to sleep in the liminal space between wake and sleep, when he was there, he always got an idea. So he like, the bell would ring as it fell from his
Wake
hand
him
and
up
he would
and then he'd
write it down.
record it.
But I do that. People do
Man.
that with their phones. I don't know if you notice, like I will have like my phone and I'll drop it on my face. I don't know if that
Yeah. That doesn't happen for me. I don't know. There's so many things I could say that are fun. I really like the technical aspects of what I do, of like digging into APIs and connecting different services, or using webhooks to strike up automations and things like that. But I think I also really love developing new workflows within Coda, our new kind of like standards of building. Like, here's a best practice. And because I've seen it like really work with, right? Like, not everyone's technical. But if I'm able to, in the end of the day, build a tool, and there's a team who's not technical at all, who's using it and loving it, and like, this is working so well for our team, I might be able to identify, oh, it's because I did X, or I put this color in this button that triggered at this certain time, and it just like really helped everyone. So I think when I recognize kind of new standards or best practices in Coda that can really help people who aren't techie, I'm like, that's really fun. I really enjoy that.
That is like a very small but powerful thing, to have best practices and to acknowledge that they are best or better practices.
Yeah.
To know that, to analyze it, to have the forethought to say, oh, instead of me thinking like, I'm doing this and I'm getting it done. Okay, that's one step. Is like, okay, I am able to do this thing, able to do a thing, done. That's probably the first step people take in spreadsheets and software. Sorry, is like, I want to just get the thing done. But to take that's like next level shit, is like understanding that just getting something done is not the most optimized way, nor is the most optimized way always the best way. Having the I don't even know what, it's not really meta knowledge. It's sort of the, you got to have a little imposter syndrome. You got to have a little insecurity, but you also have to have good, like, technical, or not technical. You have to have good chops to be like, okay, I can get things done. And so triangulate all of these of like, and this question, is this the best way to do it? I have personally tried to stay away from the term best practices, because I don't ever think that what I do is the best. I think, oh, everything could be better. And I mean, that's where like Better Sheets comes from. It's like everything can be just like a little bit better. So, but that's like a great underrated skill to have, is like to acknowledge like, oh, here's the operation thing you're doing. Here's what I'm doing. Let's just get the winner of these two. And then like do that across many years and many things, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that only comes with years of experience, right? Because you have to actually have done something and then gone, oh crap, like, I didn't foresee that effect on a team 6 months down the road with under these circumstances. And I think it's, having done things wrong a lot and realizing you're going to want to do it this way. Like, trust me, you may not see it yet, you may not see why, but you're going to want to do it this way.
An example I have, like literally just from last week, I ran a workshop, and someone, and this is a classic problem, and I admit it whenever anyone brings me like a problem they're having in their spreadsheet, and they're like, here's this problem I'm having. Happened is they put some data in a spreadsheet, and then they started formatting that data in very specific ways, like merging cells and merging row, like having a whole row for one piece of information that sort of locked in this section. And they started visually formatting this data around what they needed to think, how they needed to think about this data. And then they said their actual problem was then the next step. Okay, I have this visual format, but like, I want these pieces of data to be this like this strict structure. I want it to be flexible in this particular way. Like, I want this data to flow here, and when I add something here, I want it to automatically do this. And I'm like, okay. yes, like technically you can solve that one problem, but you actually created the problem like years ago when you set up this data area and then started formatting it to your thing. And this is a classic problem in spreadsheets. The spreadsheet is so versatile, right? Like you can do anything and you don't realize that like that is a
Part of the problem.
yeah, it's a superpower and it's a super problem.
Yep.
And so I was like, okay, well, what we really have to do is yes, okay, the thing you're trying to do, yes, you can fix it. But hey, let's go back like 20 steps. And let me show you this like way to organize your data versus a view. And yeah, it seems complicated because you've been doing it this one way and you've been like editing these pieces of information for a year or months or weeks, whatever. But like, it is going to be better. And funny enough, I don't think of those two things as like best practices versus worst practices. It's like, I think of them as like, okay, you can do that. Like you can do both of those things. And if you're never going to change this data, if you're really just going to take this data from point A to point Z and you want to do all these processes, do that.
Yeah.
Totally. like that is the easiest, fastest thing is just take that data and morph it to what you need. But if you are wanting to take this process and workflow and then do it again next month, you're going to have to, that literally doesn't scale, right? It's a 1x thing. You will have to do all of those steps again and again.
Yep.
So like, I don't know. I don't know. This is a weird rant about best practices ever. I don't know if you get that too with working with clients. You're like, oh, the problem you're having is this, but actually like your problem was down here.
Yeah. I think that's part of the crazy work we do, helping not always trusting the client. The client's not always right. But that's part of the reason why the hack is to help us surface those problems and figure out what's going on and propose solutions.
Yeah. And do you ever have like huge breakthroughs with clients that they're like, this has changed everything I do. Now I see the world in like the Coda way or something like.
Oh yeah, sure. I probably wouldn't keep getting business if I didn't, but yeah. Coda's awesome, man.
And so you talked about, I mean, you are an educator yourself. You have Coda school.
Yeah.
I do better sheets. I have classes too. But like your particular journey was you got it. You, as you said, you went from non-technical to technical. What was that? That was a pull, right? Like, or like a push. Like what happened in that moment when you were like, or did you not even realize it? Did you were like, oh, I'm coding now? What was that transition like?
Oh, actually becoming technical? Yeah, interesting. I would say I've always been like kind of interested in it. It's just seemed magical, like this thing people do. And I'd say about like 4 years ago, I tried it. I tried like getting like Code Academy or some sort of course, and I started going through it. Probably, I mean, a good amount of time, not just like a quick hot minute, but like 2 weeks. I just didn't get it. It just didn't click for me. I was like, I just don't understand what they're talking about. And I left it. And then last year, Coda launched PAX, and I didn't code at all, nothing. And I signed up for like no, I don't even think I signed up for the beta, but what PAX are integrations on Coda. And it's an ability for your Coda doc to integrate with another service like a Gmail and send an email, or with a spreadsheet and sync a spreadsheet's data. And I was like, that's not for me. I can't make my own PAX because I'm not a coder. And I think someone from Coda reached out to me and they're just like, hey, how's your experience with the PAX beta been? I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not a coder. I'm not in the beta. And they're like, yes, you are. You're in the beta. Tell us how it's been. I was like, fine. So then like that gave me the nudge. I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to learn to do it. I've always had this desire to get Strava. So I'm a big cyclist, runner. And I was like, I would love my like exercise data from Strava to come into a Coda doc so I could analyze it and figure out how many miles have I ran, how many miles have I ran this week, like what's my pace. And so that's what I set out to do. I said, I'm going to learn coding enough so that I can build that. And I jumped into another course, and it was a wholly different experience. It was a really weird experience where I was like, I already know this. And I just kept going to the lessons. I was like, no, I already know how to do this. Like, this is everything that Coda's been teaching me. And I think Coda's formula language, its internal formula language, is very enormously similar just to JavaScript, just how everything works. So it was like I was learning, like, Spanish to Portuguese, right? They're different, but they share so much common roots that if you learn one, learning the other is far easier. And so I think because I've spent so much time in Coda, I went to go learn in coding, and I was like, wait a second, Coda has been teaching me how to code in stealth this whole time. And that's what I think is sneaky about these platforms, is they call themselves like a no-code platform. Mm-hmm. But I think that's just a sneaky marketing. You're programming. Like, in these tools, you are programming, and you need to give yourself that credit. It's just in a different language. And so if you want to make that jump to actually learn some different stuff, it'll be a lot easier.
Yeah, but that's a long process, right? And how to
it is.
So like, your journey was a strict, like, that's not for me. I'll try it, even though it's not for me. I will attempt this. And it was an attempt that you wholeheartedly attempted. You're like, I'm going to learn to code, so I'm going to go take a class. Like, here's a course that exists. This is telling me I'm going to learn how to code, and I'm going to go and attempt to learn to code. And it's a one-to-one thing. This seems so simple. I just have to see this course through, and I will learn to code, right? It sounds so simple. And then in the middle of it, you're like, oh my God, this is not what I signed up for, or this is exactly what I signed up for, but it's not for me. They might have been 100% truthful, and it is the way to learn to code. But then you found a very similar path that I think most people actually take, because I also took this path myself, and I feel like it's a very underrated path to learning to code, which is over a long amount of time and a lot of different tries of learning to code, you absorb this knowledge in different ways. In fact, you took the course, you went through some lectures, you worked in a coding program. I don't want to say coding language, but it probably is a different language of coding. Is this no-code platform has a coding language that you interact with a GUI or a visual. Sometimes people call it visual programming instead of no code. You interacted with it, and then you realize, oh, I've been in it the whole time. Like, I've been technical, and this happened to me too. And it was literally almost, it's the same story every time, where you need something done, which is, in your case, you had some external pull as well. You had the internal push for years, but it was the external pull of like, hey, come on, join. You're here. You're one of us. And you're like, am I? And then you're like, wait, I want to get my Strava. I want to get my exercise information. I have an actual application that is bigger and not bigger, but like different than this technical thing. When the technical thing is the thing you want to do, and you're trying to go to it, it feels so far away. But when you have some application of that technical skills, and you're like, oh, technical is the way that I get to this ultimate thing, everything opens up. Everything just like, oh my God, I've been here the whole time. It's been within me. It's the whole hero's journey the whole time. It's like, the magical gem is inside me, and I just need to try to break the source, and Merlin is right.
Yeah, but I think, learning to become technical, I think it's similar to like learning an instrument. Like, if you just set out to learn an instrument and all you're doing is this rote, like, press this key, then make that chord, it's not fun. But if you have in your mind, like, I love this song, like, I'm so passionate about this song, and I want to learn that song, right? You have this like goal in mind, you have this thing you're working towards. So I think that's what Strava was for me. If not just like, I'm gonna learn to code, whatever that means, but it's like, no, I'm gonna get Strava data into Coda, and now I'm gonna learn what that actually means and what that actually takes. to do that. And so learned about APIs and learned how to read JSON, learned how to write JavaScript, and learned about authentication models and OAuth and all these technical things along the way. But was made a lot easier by having Coda knowledge prior.
But I think it's like two different things that not many people sort of talk about, right? One is I think you were just technically adjacent for many years and you absorbed that information.
Yes.
Going through a
Technically
course,
adjacent is a good way to put it.
yeah. Going through a course, knowing like I want to code and seeing sort of what a function is, what is a variable, what is the syntax of this, how to parse JSON, what is dot notation, what is bracket notation. Those things are truly like the parts that make up the coding, but it's like the sum of the parts are much more valuable than each individual part. And by the way, I do this exact thing. I've tried to reverse engineer how I learned to code, and I've screwed it up. Like I have courses where I have all of the like parts, but I'm like, I only have these parts because people have asked later on when I'm going through something. They're like, "Hey, what is that?" And I go, "Okay, let me answer that over here." And so I myself in my own courses and the own classes that I created, I have fallen into the same trap of, "Oh, here's a bunch of stuff you need to know." And then let's move on to like, oh, here's what you need to know.
Yeah. Also, that was really weird. I have a new mouse and I pressed a button on it and it muted me and stopped my video.
Nice.
Like that was surprising.
That seems like a good button to have. The like fail safe.
No, I know now I just gotta figure out how to reproduce that. That was silly.
Like, what else? The other way that I think of this is like, do I just instead of doing that, do I create a course where all we do is just a bunch of projects? And it's like, actually, that might be really fun. It's like because how I learned it, and it sounds like you learned it too, is like you just did a bunch of stuff and you were open.
Well, like, I mean, it's like a whole theory. I mean, coming from a traditional education background, it's called project-based learning, and there's a ton of research done on it that is the best way to learn. And so there are whole like schools that are literally just project-based learning. Like you don't have an English class and a history class and a math class. You have just large projects that have real life applications, and then embedded in them, you have to use things like math and stats and writing and different things like that. And so it's like this sneaky teaching, but you're incentivized because you're like working towards a real goal that you can actually materialize and actualize and see. So project-based learning, man.
But this is
fantastic.
I don't really, this is really a big problem, right? Like I'm having right at this exact moment in time, 3 years into Better Sheets, creating courses. Like I've had to create a specified course and I fell into that trap. But Better Sheets, the complete Better Sheets platform was built originally exactly in that ideal, is saying, I'm just going to show you this really interesting thing and we're going to learn a lesson that's embedded in there.
Yeah.
But like it doesn't necessarily work unless the marketing of the thing is done well. And I don't think I marketed it very well. Like, or it's just a number of years. Like I'm 3 years into this thing and I feel like I haven't even started yet. I'm like, so many things I want to do. In
so
Coda
many
school,
things.
What have you done in Coda school that's different? Is it project-based learning, or is it like, do you have also courses? Because I have a foot in both.
It's a both and. Right now the core that is teaching you formulas, and so the idea is like, well, how do we teach formulas? There's a lot of documentation on them, so just like technical and interactive documentation to learn like, wait, what does this actually do? And then most of it is activities. And so you may learn about the formula called filter, and you'll have little interactive sliders and toggles that like show you how it works in a Coda setting. And then after you've like read about it, learned about it, interact with it to understand what does this actually do, it gives you 3 mock scenarios and gives you like a whole context. So it'll say like, okay, like imagine that you're a marketing expert on a small team that sells shoes. Like you have some form data coming in from customers and this is your end goal. This is what you want to do. And so every single one of these activities is like embedding you in like a mini project. Because again, I can't anticipate every single need someone will have on Coda, but try to anticipate a lot of like common business use cases or things that might happen. And now you've got to solve that problem. And oh, you have to use filter to do it, which you just learned about. So
Well, you just said something interesting that I don't know if you know. It's interesting. You said there's common business problems, but it seems like, okay, so you have the school that sort of takes care of if you have common business problems, here's how you like get the base knowledge. But then you have the agency that when someone has an uncommon problem, because most people actually have uncommon problems, they do realize it, or they'll say, people ask me all the time and the questions, and they'll start with, I don't know if anyone else has gotten into this problem, or this is a unique problem, they'll always say. And like 50% of the time they're correct, but like 50% of the time they're wrong. They're like, oh, I get this question all the time.
yeah.
And so it
Totally.
sounds like you also have the agency that can handle those uncommon, deep problems that you're like, oh, let me help you like really get through all of this. But then the school that's like, here's the most common things that we found. And we can also get you through on your own time, right? Is it asynchronous video, or you have workshops too?
We have live office hours that happen, which are optional, happen every other week. So it's mostly a large asynchronous learning activities that you move through at your own pace. It's awesome.
When you're working in spreadsheets, are you an A1 or a B2 kind of guy?
Oh my gosh. A1. I don't know how to answer that, but that's what my gut says.
You want to be right there on the board. You want the full spreadsheet to work in. You don't want padding, you don't want extra space. You just want the data to be in its place.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep. That would be it.
What's your favorite formula?
In spreadsheets?
Yeah, or Coda. Coda has different things. They call it formulas, right?
They call them formulas, yeah. I mean, I can't really say with spreadsheets. I don't really.
In Coda, what's your favorite formula?
Filter.
A man of my own taste. I love it. I love filter.
Yep.
It's in my top 5.
If you enjoyed that conversation and you want more conversations about spreadsheets, check out more here. Spreadsheet Talking. I have an entire playlist here on YouTube. And check out the latest video here from Better Sheets here on Better Sheets YouTube channel. Enjoy.